A U.S. Navy destroyer gets hit. Not a training sim, an actual strike. So how does a ship wrapped in an Aegis sensor net get tagged by a low-signature threat? We'll break down the blind spot that let the weapon in, the engagement timeline that slipped by seconds, and the exact damage control sequence that kept steel, crew, and combat systems alive long enough to respond. You'll see where the radar picture thinned, what the watch team likely missed, and how the ship clawed back readiness under fire. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. You trust Aegis to see everything. But sensors don't live in a perfect world, and the crack between visible and trackable is where a cheap, low-sig threat survives long enough to bite. Start with the net. The spy radar dome throws a long, wide search, looking for shape and motion. ESM sits quiet, sniffing for hostile emissions. EO/IR rides the mast, spotting heat, glare, and hard edges. Hard kill lives on the rails, CIWS for close, ESSM mid-range, SM2 farther out. None of that matters unless the watch team stitches it together into one picture with enough confidence to act. They are the brain. They choose what the ship believes. Now stress the net. A sea-skimming missile hides in wave tops and pops only when it clears a crest. A fast inboard craft throws spray and metal glare, confuses auto-track, and comes from a busy lane full of friendly clutter. A low, slow drone drifts on the wind, cool and composite, riding sea clutter like camouflage. Each vector pokes a different sensor mode. Radar wants speed and size. IR wants heat and contrast. ESM wants noise. A quiet, cool, small threat gives none of those cleanly. Radar geometry at close range cuts against you. The Earth curves. The radar horizon bends energy over distance, leaving a low slot at the surface where returns smear into sea clutter. Ducting can trap or extend energy layers, making a far contact look near and a near contact fade. High-gain search modes hunt big metal, but a tiny cross-section can sit below promotion thresholds. In heavy sea, wave tops spike and fall. The system must decide which bright dot is foam and which dot is steel coming fast. Think of a goalie with 3 gloves but a blind spot at the skate. The bow sector at low height gets mast shadow, white water, and ship motion that thin returns. If the ship runs emission control to stay hard to find, you also deny yourself some cues. That blind spot is real, not theoretical. Track while scan has rules. The machine needs several stable hits, in a pattern, to lift a blip into a track file. Chaff-like clutter and multipath bounce signals off the surface, splitting or ghosting a target so it never meets the promote logic. A missile can look like foam for 4 sweeps and only resolve as a track on the 5th, and by then the range is ugly. Sensor fusion strains when the cues disagree. ESM hears nothing. IR shows a hot smear that could be spray on sunlit water. Radar flashes intermittent skin returns that don't hold for more than a second. The system won't auto-commit without confidence. That buys an attacker seconds. You feel those seconds. You argue with them. Here's where the net loosens. You get a flicker at the bow quarter. The operator bumps gain and waits one more sweep for confirmation. 12 seconds drain out while the contact rides the radar floor, barely a hand above the chop. The next sweep comes. It's there, then gone. Human eyes go to EO/IR, the mounts lose, but the track jitters. The most likely breach sits right there, a sea-skimming, low RCS weapon or drone, masked by sea clutter and mast shadow in that bow quarter slot, exploiting the radar horizon and the split-second delay in track promotion. Low tech, high effect. The ship's armor is software and timing, and both can slip under strain. Now detection isn't the question. Action is. What failed inside those 12 seconds when the fire control loop should have slammed shut? One chirp. Silence. Your finger hovers. Do you send steel, or wait one more sweep? Here's how the chain is supposed to fire. The blip lands on the scope, low and dirty. Track while scan needs a few repeat hits to promote it from noise to a real file. Once lifted, the system asks what it is, threat or benign, using speed, altitude, aspect, and signature. If it looks hostile, the combat system assigns a shooter and a path. Fire control solves lead, time of flight, and intercept point. Then hard kill rolls in tiers, ESSM if you own the range and geometry, RAM if you need a quick, smart dart, CIWS if the thing is already in your teeth. But the ocean isn't a lab. You're in a lane with merchant traffic, small boats, and friendly air skirting the edge. Rules of engagement demand positive ID. You need deconfliction with your own hello stack. The fear is real, shoot too soon and you could kill a civilian or blue on blue. Wait too long and you eat it. Seconds vanish while brains and software argue. Now add a human system miss. Your console filters were set tight earlier to kill false tracks from heavy chop. They also shaved off small cross-section contacts. You expect a classic fast mover, a hot, hard return that sprints. Instead, the intruder is slow, low, and cool. It doesn't match the mental picture. So the operator waits for the pattern to firm up. The machine hesitates because the track doesn't meet promotion confidence. That's 2 layers of delay for the price of 1. At 12 seconds to impact, your long sticks are fantasy. You are down to RAM and CIWS. RAM needs a handoff and a clean queue. CIWS needs a lock and a stable line. At 8 seconds, the mount wants a firm track that doesn't jitter. At 5, you're praying to tungsten, burst on spray, and a wall of metal meeting a dart in bad water. Slaving EO/IR to a shaky queue costs you time. Slew to queue has to chase a moving, low-contrast blob over white water. That burn is 2 to 3 seconds gone, especially when the mount has to cross the bow and stabilize on ship motion. CIWS can lose lock if the spray turns heavy, the radar gate widens, the gun hunts, and the burst walks. RAM Seeker wants a clear IR/UV signature to bite. A cool, composite-bodied drone can look like the sea, and exhaust masks in the chop. Back in CIC, one more radar hit pops. The logic still balks. The operator wants one more confirm. The fire control loop never slams shut. The threat clears the last wave and crosses steel. Loud. Hot. Lethal. The ship lives because doctrine is muscle memory. Messenger lines fly to move hoses and gear. Condition zebra sets quick, hatches dog and ventilation routes close. The fire main pumps hard, boundary cooling keeps heat from walking. Electricians isolate the short, lockout panels, and rig casualty power to key nodes. The bridge holds course stable while damage control parties fight flames and smoke. In the dark, CIC brings sensors back one by one, power to arrays, processors reloaded, tracks rebuilt, and they claw for a firing window to hit back. That window opened in the first place for 2 reasons. Filters were tuned tight to clean the picture, and a cautious ROE call held fire while the team searched for confidence. The save came from speed on the basics, isolate power, kill the fire, keep the net alive enough to work a counterstrike. The next minutes are cold work, assessment, patch, and a shot back across the bow that tells the attacker you're not blind, and you're not done. High-end ships don't lose to lack of power. They break at the seam, sensor, software, human, where timing slips and a cheap threat gets in. Your margin is seconds. Damage control buys them back. Doors dog shut. Pumps push cold water. Teams isolate power, patch, and keep the net breathing. That's how steel stays in the fight. What would you do, looser filters and risk a false fire, or tighter ROE and risk another hit? Comment your choice below. If you want disciplined breakdowns like this, subscribe. Next, we test counterplays, drone decoys that soak up missiles, elevated IR masts for cleaner cues, and auto-commit rules that close the 12-second gap.